Hey guys, what is up? It is Dominic, and in this video, we're going to be covering automation and workflows. Now, I've covered these before, but obviously they have adapted, they've changed, they always change, they always get better, and I want to cover some new things in here, and I also want to just cover the basics because I think if you can master two things inside of Go High Level, you will be completely fine. Those two things are the websites tab and the automations tab. Those two things, if you can master those, you can easily automate and create anything for a business that's going to get you that monthly recurring revenue. Everything else is just a bonus thrown in. So obviously I want you guys to master everything inside of Go High Level. I think that's the best way to really position yourself so that you can bring the most value to every single client, to every prospect, to every person, even yourself. But of course, automation is probably the most important aspect of Go High Level in general. You're automating these things for businesses. They need them automated to save time, which saves money, which makes everything just work way better. But before we begin, I must state that we are talking about Go High Level, the greatest platform on the planet that allows you to white label your own software company, which means you can take this phenomenal platform, throw on your logo, just like I have here in the top left and in the domain name, and you can resell it for monthly recurring revenue, the future of the marketing agency world and the future of business itself. And if you want to learn more about this, I have a free course on all of this, how to get it all set up, and a 30-day free trial when you use my affiliate link. And if you do use my affiliate link, which is in the description below, you will get my second course for free. Yes, completely free. It is an affiliates only course. You will also join our affiliates only Facebook group where we all help each other. We all work together to make sure that we have the best agencies on the planet. But anyway, let's get into this. So as you can see, I have a lot of these workflows already done. These are very basic workflows that I give out to everyone in my courses. We've got the appointment calendar for the main website. This is something that when someone fills out an appointment on the calendar, it's going to send them text messages every few hours until their appointment is ready to go. Then it automatically calls them. And then of course we have the chat widget notification. This is when you have a chat widget on your website or your client's website. These are very simple. They're just going to notify the user or the owner and say, hey, you have a new chat widget notification. Then of course we have the essentials plan and the professionals plan, which is when you have certain plans on your website like subscriptions or products. This is going to send a text message to you as well as the person that is buying the plan. And then of course we have the website contact form. This is something that I teach in so many different videos, so we're not going to cover that one. That is just a regular form submission. This is the most commonly used automation ever, is when someone fills out a form, it's going to automatically text them. And if you've watched any of my videos or taken any of my courses, you know exactly that I teach that constantly. But regardless, let's go to create new workflow at the top right. And you can see we have so many different recipes here. This is what they call basically templates for automation. You can see all the different recipes, all the different templates. You can start from scratch or do an appointment confirmation, plus a reminder, plus a survey, plus a review request. In my opinion, I think that Go High Level, they do a great job, but I think they're a little technical when it comes to this stuff. I'm not as technically advanced as a lot of the people at Go High Level. I like to keep things simple, very simple, fill out a form, get a text message back. That's enough for me, and that's usually enough for all of my clients. So I like to start from scratch, and I'm gonna show you guys how I do it. So you click start from scratch, and then you click create new workflow. And here you go. When I first started with automations, I was unbelievably confused. I had no idea what I was doing, didn't know what a trigger event was, didn't know how to do my first actions, felt like there was a million different things to process for every single action. It just felt like I was never gonna learn this, and I swear to you, after probably a week of messing with this, I felt like a pro. I felt like I could automate absolutely everything for a business, and I just got addicted to it. I wanted to automate literally everything that I could, which is why it's such a valuable skill to learn. You guys have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort, and you will understand this so much faster than when you first started. So the first thing I do is I always name my workflow. For this one, we're just gonna say test workflow. It's really important to name your workflows because you're gonna be using them later on or adding context to them, and you wanna make sure that you know the name of them to keep organized. And then we're gonna go to the workflow trigger. Now the trigger event is what's going to literally trigger everything else from happening. So it's extremely important that this trigger event is perfect, because if it's messed up, then nothing else is going to work. Okay, so the first one is appointment status. So this is a pretty simple one. It's whenever someone books an appointment, you can click on add filter right here, click select, and then you're gonna click appointment status is, and this is what happens when someone confirms, cancels, showed. So if you have anything that you wanna automate in terms of that, maybe go a little bit more specific inside of a calendar event, then yes, you're gonna say, hey, once the status is confirmed, they booked the appointment, then what happens next? Maybe like an automatic text message. Those are super simple. Maybe an automatic tag is added. You know, that's up to you and what you want to do, but it's very simple after you create the trigger event to then add your next action, because it's very self-explanatory after that trigger event. So that is how you do an appointment status. And then of course we have customer books an appointment. And this is where you would choose which calendar it is, because people get confused by this all the time. They're like, hey, I have like 6 calendars. I don't know what's going on. It's not working. And it's because, yes, you have 6 calendars. You have so many different calendars. They don't know which one to choose. So you have to make sure that you click the right calendar. We can see here we have a calendar, appointment calendar right here. And now we know when someone books an appointment on this calendar, something is going to happen. Most likely what's going to happen is it's going to send another text message that says, hey, thank you for booking an appointment with us. And then you can put like respond yes, respond no if you want to change this or whatever it is. This is where you can get creative and start to do whatever you think is best for the client or whatever the client wants. But once again, pretty self-explanatory. I don't want to break that down and create an entire workflow for this, mainly because I already give this out to all of my affiliates anyway, and because they have recipes for this, like I said before. I just want to cover exactly what you can do with workflows. So we're going to cover those triggers real quick. The next one is a birthday reminder. Not going to break this one down too much. This is just, hey, whenever it's someone's birthday, this might work really well for like restaurants. You know, restaurants do a lot of birthday giveaways, birthday gifts, you know, eat free on your birthday, 50% off on your birthday, something like this. So pretty simple trigger event. You're going to put a birthday reminder right here. Whenever a contact flows through it and it says, hey, it's their birthday, that's when you add your first action, which is most likely going to be a text message or an email that says, hey, you can come in and claim your free whatever it is for their birthday reminder. So that's birthday reminder. Then we've got contact change. So this comes in handy sometimes whenever people are changing contacts rapidly, when they're changing like the names, the numbers, the emails. You might want to inform someone that, hey, their number changed or this changed or whatever it is. So I would probably use contact change as an internal notification and say, hey, whenever a contact is changed, I want to be notified, or I want someone in my team to be notified that, hey, this contact has changed in some way. And to go more in depth under contact change, because I think this could be used quite often, is go over to the add filter right here and then click select. And you can see all of these different options here for contact change. So the most commonly used is most likely an assigned user change. So let's say you had like 5 users under one account and a contact is talking to one of the users, but they're transferring them over to a different user. Maybe it's a different department, whatever it is. You're gonna transfer this person over. It's super easy. They're just gonna go to the contact, click assign user, and click on, you know, employee number 3. Well, how is employee number 3 going to know? They would need to know that once the contact has changed to the assigned user, it's going to then, boom, add your first action. And then it's gonna say, hey, this contact has now been assigned to you. You should probably get back with that person. Very, very powerful, something that not a lot of people know about or utilize. I think it's really, really cool. And I've used it a few times with some of my clients who have multiple employees and are constantly transferring customers over to different employees around the business. So that is how you do that section. The next one is pretty simple. It's a contact tag. You know, I think contact tags are cool. I think they're nice when you have a lot of things going on in a business and everything's crazy and you have to add a contact tag for so many different things. Maybe it's good to notify the employee, notify the business owner that, hey, a contact has been added. Or maybe once a contact tag is added to a customer, you can have so many different things happen. You can have automations occur. You can have text messages sent. For an example, this might be a little technical here, but let's say I have an automation for real estate or something like this, and I run a realtor ad, I run a house listing ad, and I say, hey, do you want to learn more about this house? And they say yes. Well, how about we easily can go in and add a tag for that person that says interested or something like this, and then that's going to maybe automatically send them somewhere else or automatically text them this or automatically do something that you were going to do with an interested buyer. It seems like that would be easier than having to text them, do this, do that, send them to another user. If you can just have it all automated, that's why I love automation and think it's so valuable, because you can automate absolutely everything. Then maybe you can even automate that through a custom tag right there, through a contact tag. So yes, that seems kind of crazy. Maybe there was a lot of moving parts there, but it's one of the things that I love about this. You can be creative. You can do anything that you want here. And it's just something that popped into my head just now. And then next we have custom date reminders. The custom date reminder is exactly what it sounds like. It's just reminding you of a certain date, basically just a regular reminder, calendar reminder. But this is more specific to, yes, custom dates. And maybe you have like, hey, every month on the 5th, we do this. And I want to send out a note every single 5th of this month or every first Tuesday of this month, whatever it is. Then you can send out a custom date reminder or send out a text message or an email or this or that, or add them to a workflow. So many different things that you can do on custom dates. So that's where you would do it there. Next one is note added. I do this one a lot. I actually have a lot of workflows where notes are added. The reason I do this is because when someone fills out a form, let's say it's a real estate form again, actually let's say it's a construction form, and we have multiple different options for them to choose from. Like, hey, we have construction, but we also have, you know, land clearing, we have fence jobs, we have snow plowing, we have lawn mowing. We have so many different services we offer. Well, when the customer fills out that form and picks land clearing, we don't know what they want yet. So we have to add a note, which is what I usually do, or a task, which I can add down here later, but I usually go with notes. We add a note that says, hey, they picked this. And then it's a custom value and it takes exactly what they picked. They picked land clearing. Then the employee or the user can easily go into that contact tab, click on the note section and see exactly what that contact has wanted, ordered, or what they need done. I love the notes section. I think it's very valuable. And then of course, note change. This is something that just goes off of notes. When a note is changed, maybe have a notification pop up and say, hey, someone changed a note for this person. Make sure you go and check that. Then task added. I absolutely love tasks. I talk about this a little bit in my course. I use tasks all the time. I think they're really valuable. I think they're basically notes, but on steroids. So what tasks do is they're on the homepage of your Lead Connector app. So you can literally see all the tasks you have to complete for the day. This is something that I use with a lot of clients who have a lot of things going on, who have ads rolling. There's so much different things. There's so many different movements here and they're going to get confused. So when you have tasks that are automatically added saying, hey, you need to follow up with this person. Hey, you need to do this for this person. You can add the task there, have custom values in there, and really create anything that you want through tasks. Once again, this is something you just learn over time. I think they're pretty easy to do. All of these, everything I've explained so far is extremely self-explanatory. I think people just need to know that it's there. That's why I'm making this video. The next one is a task reminder. Of course, it's just reminding you that, hey, that task was due, 2 months ago. You should probably do it. Hey, that task was due yesterday. Hey, that task's due in 3 days. Because tasks have a due date because they're tasks. So make sure that you have a reminder on there as well. Now we're over in the contact actions. This is something that I do a lot. I know a lot of people are like, hey, I'm not getting notified or this or that or whatever it is. So here's a customer replied. So whenever a customer replies, you can have a notification set. But here's something that I want to bring up because I think a lot of people mess this up and they want to put a customer reply notification everywhere. It is not necessary. Whenever a customer replies anyway, it most likely is going to notify that user if that user is assigned to that contact. So you do not need to use the customer replied for all of your workflows. You do not. Once the customer replies, it's going to notify anyway, just like a regular phone does. The customer reply workflow is really good for maybe like extremely specific things like phrases. Here you can see once a customer replies, phrases, tag doesn't have, exact match phrase, has a tag, intent type, reply to a workflow, reply channel. So this is something that we use a lot for reply channel. So if you go to reply channel here, you click on select, you're gonna see all of these different channels that they can reply on. We got call, chat widget, email, Facebook Messenger, Google My Business messaging, Instagram DM, and SMS. So this is really, really powerful when you're trying to notify people of all of these different things. Like, hey, now a customer replied on Facebook, so we're gonna have this automatically go, hey, someone replied on Facebook, here's your notification, here's your text message, so you can go back and message them back. Same with Google My Business, Instagram DM, SMS, and all those other things. But for the most part, whenever someone replies, it's going to automatically tell that user. So I actually don't use customer replied too often unless it's literally just for this chat widget, etc. The next one is form submitted. I'm not gonna go into this. I go into this constantly on all of my videos. I feel like I mentioned form submitted. This is just when you create a form on a website and someone submits it, it's going to do what? Trigger an event for all these different things to happen. So we're gonna skip that one. Order form submission. Of course, if you guys have taken the course already, you know exactly what this one is too, because you have this. Order form submission is whenever you have an order form on your website, whether it is a product or service, whatever it is. Once it's submitted, what happens? Well, you're going to probably send a text message or an email or a notification that says, hey, you just got an order, and then the customer that ordered it should probably get something too, a login or whatever it is. So once again, pretty self-explanatory there. And then we've got surveys submitted. I don't really mess with surveys too often, but I know a lot of clients like to have that as an option. So what's going to happen when a survey is submitted? Maybe add them to a new workflow, maybe send them another text message, something like that. But that's going to happen when a survey is submitted and it is connected to that trigger event. Then you're going to create all of the actions below it, which we're gonna get to after this. Trigger link clicked. I don't really use trigger links anymore. I think they're kind of outdated. I think everyone using workflows now, everyone always asks me, where do I find triggers? Well, you're probably not gonna be able to see them for much longer. Everyone's using workflows. So don't know how much longer the trigger link click is going to be there. I have personally never used it. And then we got the Twilio validation error. Once again, not sure if this one's gonna stay on here either. I know Twilio is getting kind of used in a different format with GoHighLevel. You will soon not have to use Twilio at all, not have to log in, not have to create an account. I cannot wait for this. GoHighLevel actually just released this yesterday on their YouTube channel, so go check that out if you haven't. And then, so we're gonna probably skip that one as well. And then events, we've got a call status and email event. So let's go to call status first. We're gonna add a filter here, select it. And you can see all these different options here: call direction, call status, in workflow. These are all for more telecommunication purposes. I don't really use these too often. Maybe a company who's doing a lot of phone calls would want things like this and want a lot of this automated, but I don't want to go too far in depth because I don't really use it. Then we've got email events. We're going to add filter here. We're going to check out all the different options here. So this is when you have certain events going on and you have maybe email marketing going on for those events, or they're in certain workflows. You can create a trigger event for that. Once again, you guys know I'm not a huge email guy, so I don't mess with these either. And then we've got Facebook. So Facebook lead form submitted. I actually use this constantly. Anyone who knows me, they know that I love my Facebook lead forms. I run absolutely all of my ads through Facebook forms, which means once a form is submitted, what happens next? Facebook doesn't do much there, so you have to have a system like GoHighLevel that can automatically text and put in a follow-up campaign for all of these leads to immediately get back with you and for you to immediately get back with them, because people on Facebook have the attention span of a freaking rock. So if you miss them in that first 2 minutes, they're gone. They're on to the next thing. You have to be able to text them within the first 60 seconds or they are gone. That's why I absolutely love Facebook lead form submitted. And I talk about this all the time in my affiliates only course. And then we've got memberships. So this goes really well with my last YouTube video, which was about courses and memberships, creating courses from scratch. And you can see here, this is how you're going to offer certain access, how you're going to do categories completed, membership for new signups, all of these user logins, product completed. So this is really, really cool. If you want something super, super in-depth, you want a course that says, hey, once you've completed all the steps, like a product completed trigger, we're gonna send you another course. We're gonna do this. We're gonna send you a text that congratulates you and sets up a call immediately with us. Maybe something like that. These are really, really cool automations. You can make your course as in-depth and as professional as you can possibly believe inside of all these membership access triggers. You can also do a product access removed and a product access granted, which is really cool. Now we're gonna scroll down here to the opportunities tab. Once again, not a huge fan of opportunities. I think they kind of confuse some people, but I do use them for my own business inside of my construction business because I think they are really good for organizational purposes if you understand them. But if the client doesn't understand them, they're gonna be very confused. So make sure that they understand opportunities. If they want to do it, it's going to be very hands-on. That's another thing that I kind of avoid, is whenever the client has to be extremely hands-on, I immediately see that as a red flag that, hey, they're probably not going to be hands-on. I have to automate everything inside of the system. So once you get into the opportunities tab and the workflows for that, it's going to be way more advanced. But maybe I can make a video completely on opportunities. I just couldn't do that now because it would take like 30 minutes. But for now, if you want to do automated opportunities saying like, hey, we have a construction site, this one's going to be about $50,000 in revenue. We want to add that as an opportunity. And whenever that is a closed opportunity inside of that pipeline, we want to do what? We want to, send a message. We want to add it to our, our pipeline again. We want to add it to this, want to add it to close, whatever it is, you're automating absolutely everything inside of that opportunities tab. I could go on for hours on that because it gets very technical when you start messing with opportunities and workflows. And then of course we have the payments invoice. This is actually pretty new. So if you click on invoice here, a lot of businesses want to do the text to pay offer. So if you're going to offer them Stripe and all these integrations, PayPal, whatever it is, you can now create invoices for them, or they can create invoices for themselves. And then of course, when you have an invoice status is, let's say sent or paid, let's say paid, then you can have an automatic text sent out that says, hey, they paid their invoice, they're ready to get that service or product, whatever it is. So very cool, absolutely love that feature. Waited a very long time for that feature actually, but that is the invoice feature. And then lastly, we have the Shopify triggers. These are gonna be the abandoned checkouts, the orders placed, the orders fulfilled. So all of these different things inside of Shopify. If you're integrating Shopify, very self-explanatory stuff. Maybe once an order is placed, you want to send out an automatic text message, which Shopify does not do. They send out automatic emails, but not text messages. I would love if a business would text me about my product when it was coming, because I think that's the most difficult part, is having to go back and forth on email all the time. Just text me. I think that'd be really cool. So if you have anybody that's doing Shopify or online orders, definitely check out the Shopify triggers. And now we're going to cover the actions. So the actions are kind of crazy. There's clearly a lot of them here, and I'm going to cover them pretty quickly here. We've got send email and send SMS. These are obviously the most commonly used actions. Like if we go to send SMS here, you can see we have the action name. We have a template if we have an SMS template that we want to use. And then of course the message, we can type in anything that we want. Usually I type in hey, and then I go to the custom value, contact's first name, hey, contact first name. Then I typed in, are you still interested in our services? You know, something like this. Obviously I wouldn't do it just like this, but I would change it up a little bit depending on the business, depending on the client. But this is how you do an automatic text message. Then you'll scroll down. You can test it out right here, make sure it all goes through and all works. You can even check the statistics over here in the right if you've been running this workflow for a while and you want to see how many delivered, how many didn't, how many are clicked, how many failed. So that's a pretty cool feature as well. And custom values, I really want to make another video on just custom values. I think they're really cool. You can have so many different custom values. You can create your own custom values, and that just allows you to basically do anything that you want. There should be no client that you cannot fulfill when you can create your own custom values inside of the system. But anyway, that is text messages, probably the most commonly used action you will ever use inside of workflows. And then emails is the same thing, just set up as an email. Call is pretty similar as well. So if we set up a call here, how the system actually works is it's going to call you first. I know when you're setting up the workflow, you assume it's going to call the customer. Not true. It's actually going to call you first, or the client, sorry. It's going to call the client or the user, whoever's actually using it. And then it's going to send a call whisper. This is automated, so you don't actually have to put this in here. But let's say you wanted to add your own whisper message. You can see all of the instructions here. You can even use custom values here as well, see? So if you wanted to say like the customer's name, hey, you're about to call customer name, dial out. So it's gonna make you dial out, which basically means you're gonna click any button and then it's gonna automatically call and connect you with that client. So very, very cool. I actually use this not too often, but every once in a while. I use it for calendars. You know, whenever someone books an appointment, what's gonna happen? Well, as soon as that appointment is ready to go and it's a call appointment, I have it automatically call myself so that I'm ready for the call, and then I dial out and immediately calls them. So perfect timing, everything works great on both ends. So that is how you do a call. The next one's gonna be a voicemail. I mean, if you want to upload your own voicemail file, have this automatically sent out to a bunch of people or a bunch of contacts, you can do that as well. Next one, we've got Messenger. This is for a Facebook Messenger. You can see it looks the exact same as the text message SMS template. Because it pretty much is. It's just sending out a messenger, automatic messenger instead of a text. So if you're running any type of Facebook campaigns or you're doing anything on Facebook in that regard, you can automate your actual Facebook messages. Really, really cool. I've done this feature a few times. Next one is Instagram DMs. Obviously, it's the exact same thing as Facebook Messenger, just with Instagram. And then we have manual SMS and manual call. Now, I don't really use these too often because they kind of defeat the purpose of the automation. We don't want to do anything manually, but it's nice to have that option, maybe to have more control over what you're doing, to maybe have a manual SMS and manual call set up as well. But I'm not going to break down that too often because obviously we teach automation in this video. The next one is Google My Business Messaging, which is the exact same as Messenger and Instagram DM. So I like the automatic Google My Business Messaging because I feel like it doesn't happen too often. If it does, it's extremely automated, which means it just sounds like a robot, Google robotically, messaging the customer back. It just doesn't seem like you're talking to a real person. Google My Business is one of those that it's really good if you can respond back faster, because then Google will go, oh, these guys are actually using our platform correctly, and it can even improve your Google ranking. Same with Facebook. Facebook loves when people respond faster. So if you have these things on automatic response in the first 60 seconds, it's gonna help you guys a lot and help your clients a lot too. Next one is gonna be a CRM. So we're gonna do add a contact tag. Of course, we had the triggers for all of these events, but now we're adding a contact tag for the actions. So this is really good for certain things. If they enter a workflow, maybe like they entered like the real estate workflow, we're gonna add them as a tag and say, hey, this is a new lead tag or something like this. So it's nice to have that option as well. And then remove tag, you can automatically remove tags. This is where you get into like crazy automations where maybe you have, hey, whenever a tag is added, we add them to a new workflow, and then whenever they respond, they remove the tag and add them to another workflow. That's when you get into like absolutely crazy automations, which maybe I'll cover those later. But once again, I'm gonna have to get super specific on each one. So it's hard for me to make videos on this. I just wanna get people very comfortable and understanding that everything inside of workflows is actually really easy to maneuver and really easy to do. You just need to know what you're doing. You need to know what you're seeing here. Then we've got create and update opportunities. Once again, this is part of the opportunity tab that we talked about earlier, where I don't really mess with it too much, but when you're trying to create opportunities and update them, you're going to be using this action. And then you got add to notes and assign to user. Two very popular ones that I'm going to show you right now. So if we do add to notes here, and let's say we had a custom form, and inside that custom form, we have a service, and they clicked on that service when they filled out the form. Perfect. So how would we do that? Because then now I'm just looking at a note here. I don't know which one they use. I don't know how to do that. So this is how you do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put custom value, contact's full name, and I'm going to put once and then I'm gonna put in the service that they have. Now, obviously this is a test account, I don't have the service, but let's say I did have a service inside of a form already done. I'm gonna scroll all the way down to custom fields, and you can see if I created a custom field, which I actually do have one for select services. I forgot I did do this for this account. I can click on select services. So now whichever services they clicked on, it'll now automatically create a note and say this contact picked these services. So that helps me so much. I don't have to get back into the laptop and look up the form submitted and have to find out what they chose, because that's just gonna be a nightmare. I can easily go into Lead Connector, click on notes, and boom, it's right there. Save action, done, ready to go. The next one is assign to user. This is extremely important. I use this one constantly. If you have multiple users, multiple clients in the same account, you want to make sure that the right contacts are assigned to the correct users. So if you have a workflow that's only for one user, then this is the first action you would put literally at the top. Assign it to this user. If they fill out this form, it's going to this user. If they fill out this form, it's going to that user. And if you have multiple users, you can even do a round robin, which is really cool as well. So let's say we had 5 users, we have 5 real estate agents all battling over the same amount of leads. Well, what are we gonna do? They can't all talk to the same leads. That would be weird. Well, let's say we had 5 users right here. It's gonna drop down menu and say, hey, how do you wanna split the traffic? Evenly, unevenly, round robin. So you're going to split it most likely evenly. Every other, every 5th one, this person gets it, 4th one, this one, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, whatever it is. So they're gonna get, if there's 20 leads, they're each gonna get 4. And that's how you do that. I use that quite often. I love the assign user action. It is one of my most commonly used actions. Next one is removed assign user. It's the same thing as assign user, except now you're removing them automatically for whatever reason. Next one is set event start date. This one seems a little confusing at first, especially when you're doing wait times and everything else. Now there are recipes, there are things that you can use to see exactly how it's done. So I'm not gonna go too crazy into this, but let's say there's an event for whatever reason. I've done this before for clients. They have certain events like once a week or whatever it is, and they wanna send out reminders for those events. So you're gonna select the event, custom field, specific day, time. Most of the time it's gonna be a specific date/time. Then you're gonna pick the date. So we're gonna say it's on the 11th. We're gonna pick the time down here, 6 a.m. and save the action. So now we have the set event start time, but check this out. If we go over to the wait time here, when we add a new action, which we haven't done yet, but wait is gonna be one of the most commonly used that you ever use, because wait goes in between most of your automations. We're gonna click on the wait time here. So check this out. Wait for, it says time delay. We're gonna go down to event appointment time. So it knows that it's this event start time. It knows that we're talking about this one. You're gonna have multiple event start times in here, but it knows the next wait time is for the one previous. So even if you add 5 or 6 set event start times, it just automatically knows that it's the one right before it. So don't worry about that. That'll probably come up. That confused me when I started. I was like, how does it know which event to wait for? It's just the one right before it. So now you can say wait before months, days, hours, minutes. We're going to wait 2 hours and 30 minutes before the event to send out a text message about that event. Or maybe 1 day and 2 hours, whatever it is. This is just an example. 1 day. And then you can even do skip all outbound communication actions till the next event start date. So what this means is if someone's entering the workflow and they enter this workflow, so let's say we have 1 day, 2 hours and 30 minutes. They enter at 1 day, 2 hours, 29 minutes before the event time. Guess what's gonna happen? They're not gonna receive the text because we skipped all outbound communications. So you can either do that or move to next step, whichever one you wanna do. So that's another thing that you need to have in place. You need to understand that that's going to happen if they enter the workflow after the time has already passed. And what will we do next? We'd of course add an SMS. So I'm gonna do that real quick. And I'll say event is almost live. Obviously I would be way more specific. Say, hey, you got 2 more hours until the event goes live, whatever it is, be there, get your tickets. Who knows what this is for, but we're gonna save that action. So boom, now you know how to do set event start time. It is very confusing when you have no idea what you're doing, but obviously you guys just saw me do it. You're just gonna start it, do a wait time. Under wait time, you're going to change it from delay to start event, and then you're going to add an SMS. So it looks like this. Looks like it should probably be done like the opposite direction, but it's not. So make sure if you wanna do something similar to this, go back, watch this video, and know how to do set event start time. Next one is add to workflow. So let's say you have multiple workflows going on, and you want to add someone to a new workflow. This is something you can do if you wanna create workflow loops, because obviously you don't wanna make a workflow that just keeps on going over for like ever. You don't want to do that. So if you want to create like a workflow loop, you can do so and just keep on adding it back to the previous workflow, back and back and back and forth. This is something you can do a lot with like restaurants if they're just gonna have a continuously workflowed loop for maybe like a text message club, and you don't want it to ever stop, but you also don't want to come in here and like edit it every single week. Then maybe you could create a workflow loop by adding them to multiple workflows. And then of course we got remove from workflow and then remove from all workflows. So these are pretty much similar things. You can just remove them from that action. And then we got remove opportunity, same thing, send internal notification. This is something that I use probably, once again, top 5 most used workflow automations actions by far is the internal notification. So what this means is it's just gonna notify you, the user, whoever it is, that something is occurring. And look at the different 3 types of notification. We have email notification, regular notification, which means that they have the Lead Connector app. It's gonna pop up just like a Lead Connector notification, or an SMS. We're gonna do just regular notification here. You can title it whatever you want. So we'll say new lead, and then you can have the custom message. It'll be like a custom value, full name, contact name, just signed up on the website. Then you can redirect the page to the conversations tab. This means whenever you click on the notification, where does it go? It's gonna send straight to the conversations tab, so you can easily text that person right there, even though your automation most likely did it for you. So then you're gonna scroll down here and you're gonna click all users, particular user, user assigned to the contact. So we're gonna just click all users for this. We're gonna save that action, and boom, that is how you do an internal notification. I talk about this all the time, so obviously I just wanted to fly through that. Then we've got set contact on DND. This means do not disturb. If you don't want to have anyone message this person, you don't want them in any more workflows, don't want them receiving texts, emails, all of these different things, you can have it automatically set on DND. This does come in handy every once in a while when you want to keep the contact in your contacts, but you don't want to mess with them and bother them all the time. Then we've got edit conversation. This is pretty cool, very specific though. This will go in and edit the conversation to whatever is happening, automatically edit it. I haven't really had a use for this yet, but maybe you guys could be creative and find something to do with edit conversation. Then we've got send review request. I have mixed emotions about the send review request. I actually like to go inside of the Google My Business, take the link inside of GMB and make a template out of it. I teach this in the course as well, so you guys most likely know what I'm talking about, but I don't really do the send review request too often. I actually just do send SMS, then take the link and copy it there. And then I just use, hey, can you leave us a quick review, yada, 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 boom, done. So I don't really do the send review request, but the perks of doing the send review request is that when you go into your Lead Connector app or your GoHighLevel dashboard or your review dashboard, you will see, hey, we sent out 100 requests and we got 20 responses. So it is cool if you're trying to kind of track the review request, then this is definitely something that you want to do. Then we've got a Stripe one-time charge. So yes, you can automatically charge clients through an automation just like this and do a one-time Stripe charge. Pretty cool. Haven't had many uses for this either, but I like to do everything manually. I'm not a huge fan of automation when it comes to money. Whenever it comes to that, I like to handle things face-to-face or over the phone and say, hey, this is how much, yada, yada, yada. I'm gonna send you that now. Just way more trust, builds trust. So the automation with money, not my favorite thing, but you guys maybe find some use in it as well. Then we've got update appointment status. We pretty much already went over this, so I'm not gonna cover this one too much. Then we've got add task, which we also went over. So when you're adding a task to automation, same thing as a trigger event, it's just gonna add a task. So let's say we have a workflow going, a lot of automations running this way and that way, someone responds, and you wanna add that person to a task and say, hey, they responded, you need to get back to this person. Or let's say maybe they did a payment. So let's say they purchased something online or they purchased something through your invoice. Then you would add a task and say, hey, you need to get this person serviced or you need to get them their product. So that's another way that I would add tasks automatically. Then we have the AI appointment booking bot. I actually have not messed with this at all, so I don't want to break this one down yet. Same with the Eliza bot agent. I don't have this one either, so I haven't messed with it either. So I'm gonna skip these, but these are more AI. They're just gonna send out automatic text messages, whatever they think, the phrases that they use, all these different things. You guys know how AI works. It's just gonna kind of answer the way that they think you would want it answered. But haven't really done that one yet, so I'm gonna skip that. Then add to Google Analytics. This is on your dashboard. You're gonna see your Google Analytics page if you've connected it or if you connected it with your clients, so you can have these things automatically added. Same with Google AdWords. And then we've got update contact field. So if you have multiple fields, custom fields for different contacts, you can have them automatically updated. None of these are too exciting when you get to the end here, so I'm just gonna kind of fly through them. We've got Facebook add it to a custom audience. This is when you're getting really in depth into Facebook ads and you wanna automate all these things. For most of you guys starting out, a lot of you beginners, you're not going to be doing this at all. But if you wanted to add a custom audience, here's one that's removed from custom audience. And then we got Facebook conversion API. all things I'm going to clearly skip. These would be completely different videos for way more high-tech and advanced people that are going to be using these things. Then of course we have the membership actions, the membership grant offer, and the membership revoke offer. We saw these in the trigger events, but this is how you do them as an action. And then we have conditions and workflows, the if else. So the if else is something I see in a lot of more advanced workflows. I actually don't mess with them. You guys know me. I'm a very, very simple person. I like to set everybody up in the most simple way possible. All my clients can easily see my workflows and know exactly what's going on. So I don't really mess with the if else feature too often. I need to go look more in depth in that because I know people are using it like crazy. I just know it's more advanced and I haven't really messed with it too much. And then of course the wait time is one of the most, if not probably the most commonly used action ever. It goes in between, literally we've already used it twice just as an example. It goes in between a lot of your workflows. So we're gonna do the wait time for that. And we already kind of discussed that. So I'm gonna move on. And then we've got webhooks. If you guys are doing any type of webhooks, this usually you would have like Zapier or something else integrated, and then you would add that to the webhook. And then we've got the go-to feature. This is another thing that like makes the workflow look super crazy and like a tree diagram. And it's, you know, it gets really fun and creative when you start messing with if else and the go-to, and then of course math operations, which I don't even want to go into. I don't think any of us want to go into the math operations section, but those are all way more advanced sections that I cannot break down right here. This video has been long enough for you guys. I just wanted to show you guys every single thing that you can do inside of workflows. I believe I covered them all, but before I leave, I do want to hop over to the settings tab, which is something that people do not utilize, and they need to, and they get super confused and they're like, why isn't this working? And I'm like, did you check your settings? Did you check your settings? Did you check this, that? Did you check allow multiple, stop on response? And they're like, oh no, sorry. So this is very, very important. I preach it in my course all the time. Whenever you're making a workflow, always go over to settings and make sure you scroll all the way down here. You make sure that that workflow works at any time or a specific time. If you don't want people getting messages at 2 in the morning, then maybe do a specific time and pick that range. Then scroll down here and go to allow multiple. Do you want people to enter this workflow more than once? If it is a regular form, yes, you probably do want them to enter more than once. But if it's a workflow where if they enter more than once, it would be weird to send them another text, then yes, you would have no, do not enter them more than once. And then there is stop on response. So this is something that obviously most people will have to do for any follow-up campaign. You want to stop on a response. Whether it's a good response or a bad, you most likely want the workflow to stop, because let's say they respond good and they said, hey, yeah, I'd love to see more, hear more. Well, then the user or the client is going to have to respond anyway. You don't want to keep sending automatic text. Let's say they say, stop texting me, I'm done, I'm sick of this automation. Well, then they're done. They just responded and it stopped, so they're good there too. So either one works. Stop on response is extremely valuable and very necessary for almost all follow-up campaigns, but it is not necessary for all campaigns in general. So make sure you've gone through, just use your brain and go, hey, do I want this to stop if they respond, or would that kind of mess up my workflow? You'll know when you make your workflows, and that's why it's so good to just get really, really good at all of these different things and become extremely skilled in the art of sites and workflows, because once you do that, you realize that you create systems for all different types of businesses and run it in the smoothest way possible, which is what we're doing here. So that is the settings section. And then of course, if you are done with your workflow, you're gonna head over here, you're gonna name it properly, you're gonna click this from draft to publish if it's ready to go and live, and then you're gonna save it at the top right here. And now your workflow is completely done, ready to go, and hopefully it works. You're gonna test it out on yourself first before you ever hand it over to a client. So boom, that is the entire workflow section. I tried to fit in as much as possible in one video. Workflows are extremely difficult to explain to people. I think it's one of those things that's just it's not difficult to do. It's a very simplified act. There's just so much that goes into it. So hopefully I did a good job there and explained every single thing that you can do inside of workflows in the quickest and most generalized way possible. And if you guys would like me to do a very specific workflow video, then of course I can. But for now, thank you guys for watching. And like I said before, if you stuck with me to the end of this video, thank you so much. It helps my numbers. And I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel. You guys know how I feel about my YouTube channel. It's my everything. So please give me a like and a subscribe, and check that link in the description below if you want to start your 30-day free trial. Get that second course. I really put everything I have into these courses, and I really try to help you guys one-on-one. I'm trying to be the best affiliate in the world. You guys know that already. So use my link. Help support me. I make all these videos for free, give everything away for free. So it's the only way that I can really keep doing this is if you guys just sign up using my link. So let me know if you do that. Text me, message me on Facebook, whatever you got to do. And I'll even do one-on-one calls with you for free for all my affiliates. So remember that, and let's stay in touch. See you guys.